Hey y'all. Let's see. Today we can go over putting on these fender flares. So in the past video, I was talking about certain things that kind of needed to perfect, and some things I've noticed. One of the things was the big rooster tails that the tires would kick up and spray mud and water everywhere. So a lot of you and most of the internet will agree and say, duh, if you're going to put on tires that stick out past the body, you're going to need fender flares. So I didn't want to just go ahead and do it. I wanted to, I don't want to say experience it for myself, but, see if I truly needed them. And the answer is yes, plain and simple. The standing water, rain, mud, everything just flew up and got the entire golf cart dirty. So if you like the sprayed mud look, don't put the fender flares on. If you want to have a cleaner golf cart, go ahead and put them on. But picked them up off of eBay. I think they're about $40. You can find them a little cheaper, a little bit more expensive. But I do have to say they are pretty high quality. They fit really well. They mount exceptionally well. I've dealt with other fender flares on cars, and unless you're willing to shell out a ton of money, fender flares don't normally match up very well. And what I mean by that is they don't fit the same curvature as the tire well to begin with. They don't match up to the body very well. There's a noticeable seam that's not consistent. These fit on very well. So let me go ahead and show you. So first off, they even have a nice little tail that actually wraps underneath the body of the golf cart, creating a nice look. And they use self-tapping screws. I did a pilot hole. I think it was about a quarter inch, maybe a little bit less, and the self-tapping screws just sucked it right to the body. So the install was very clean, very well done. I mean, it's just a very close fit to this golf cart, and they are rigid. They're very solid. They don't feel flimsy. They don't feel like they're gonna flex. Just absolutely impressed with them. Let me get a shot of the back here. Yeah, and you can, let's see if I can get this to focus. You can see that it fits flush right up to the body, and the overall curvature, I mean, it fits well. The biggest thing is you just got to take your time and make sure when you mount them to make sure they're even, so you don't have one that's favoring towards the back end, and then on the other side it's favoring the front end. So it took me a little while. It's a pretty easy install. DIY Golf Carts did a good video on how to install them, how he installed them. But for me, I just kind of, I don't want to say guessed, but found a position that fit well, looked well, mounted well, and kind of went for it. So nothing super high tech, not a lot of measuring. The only concern that I had, and it worked out really well, was, you can't see it, is making sure that when it comes up to the front of the golf cart, that you don't have them mounted higher or lower, that they're mounted even, so it doesn't look weird. But if you take your time, they turn out really well. I'm very impressed with them. Took it out the other day when it was raining. Had very little spray coming up from the tires. They work really, really well. So let me point out one other thing. In the video where I did the tires and spacers and everything, I showed that the wheel stuck out from the body of the golf cart without wheel spacers. The tires stayed sucked up underneath the body. With the wheel spacers, the back tires are now sticking out, and you can see that they fit nice and even underneath the fender flare, and they actually stick out just a tad. So, you know, the majority of it's covered. You're not really getting spray off the little edge there, but it doesn't look goofy. If you put on the wheels without spacers and that tire is pushed all the way back underneath the body, the wheel would sit, you know, back here. The outside of the tire would be back here. It just looks really weird because this would do nothing for you. So the wheel spacers and the fender flares, this doesn't look goofy at any point. And then the front, since the body curves up and around, the fender flare covers, let's see, you're right over the beginning of the seat here. It covers up most of the tire. I would say that, especially up here, the fender flare doesn't really cover the tire, but at that point, you're not really spraying up water. It's usually hitting right about here. So, that's been the newest thing. I do have to show you guys one other thing. I did cave and kind of went against my past judgment call, and that was mounting the light bar on top of the canopy. Like I said in the past video, the light just, it hit everything right here and reflected back into the driver's eyes, and it was not pleasant. You couldn't see very far at all. It was almost counterproductive and a little bit dangerous, so decided to, you know, come on, focus. Unbolt it from here, and I had the wire, I just drilled, the wire goes through the upright here. I just drilled a hole up to the top, and it's a tight fit right here, so there shouldn't be any water leaking through. It's a really, really tight fit. I struggled pulling that through, and then I used a little bit of silicone where the bolts are, and I will be finishing these brackets. They're just simple little aluminum L brackets. I gotta finish pulling off the rest of the tape, and I think I'm just gonna rhino line these black, kind of fit along with the light bar. And without the light blinding you in the face, you can actually see a lot further. So I would definitely say that it's a better option for it to go up on top. And the only reason I moved it up there was because I played around with trying to create a blind, partition, I guess you could say, to shield the light from bouncing back into the driver's eyes, and it wasn't working out. It was a lot of effort. It didn't look clean. It looked very like a hack job, so I wasn't happy with it. I decided to put it on top, and I double checked, triple checked, and was very cautious when I first did it, but I made sure that it cleared the lowest part of the garage door, and it clears it by an additional 2 to 3 inches. So, you know, if you're planning to keep this in the garage or a little shed or wherever, just make sure that if you mount something to the top, it's not gonna, you know, get decapitated, get knocked off. So those have been the 2 new things, and I am currently working on something else that'll be another video, but that will be soon to come. But y'all have a good one.